Hello everybody and welcome to another episode about Besta Deildin here in Iceland on Sjóher Football. So, first off, why didn't I do a prediction on round 2 on Besta Deildin? Well, because I happened to lose my voice. So no matter what I tried, I just couldn't speak loud enough for the microphone to pick it up and do a good video about it. So, that's why I'm here today, because we have 2 rounds to go over and prediction for the next weekend, which is a little bit tricky to do because there's a game which is supposed to be in the 10th round that is going to be played tomorrow, if I remember correctly. We'll see in just a bit. I think it's tomorrow, so yeah. We're gonna go over how I think these games are gonna go. But yeah. This may actually be just limited editing as well, because I didn't like the quality of the other editing software that I was using, so I'm trying a new one. I haven't exactly mastered it just yet, so I'm still learning into it. So yeah, it's gonna be rough edits and stuff like that. But without further delay, let's jump straight into the first round. These are the results of the first round. And to be honest, nothing surprising came out of this. We knew that Víkingur versus FH Hafnarfjörður was going to be a tough battle. So Víkingur winning, nothing too crazy there. It's kind of what we guessed would happen. This was a lovely battle between 2 really good teams. So if you have the option to watch this again, I really recommend that you do, because this was a really fun game. Stephen Lennon managed to score for Hafnarfjörður in like the first 20-30 seconds, something like that. And they held that lead for quite a while, but eventually Víkingur managed to come back with a draw and a late goal to make them 2-1. So yeah, they won fair and square in a really close combat between these 2 teams. And yeah, it's not much to say about that. Just a wonderful match to watch. If you have the option to it, I would definitely recommend watching this one again. Then we have Valur versus IBVF or Westman Islands. Now, this game surprised a lot of us, because Westman Islands actually managed to get ahead in this game, but Valur equalized and then managed to get the win in the end. What was shocking about this was how hard it was for Valur to actually win this game, because a lot of people were predicting that, like, on paper, Valur is supposed to win this league by a landslide, because they have the highest salary, the most expensive players, but for some odd reason they struggled so far against Westman Islands. What also surprised a lot of us was that the Westman Islands, they were just done after like 60-ish, 70 minutes, something like that. They were just done. They couldn't keep up the pace in Besta Deildin, and they were struggling so hard to just basic walking eventually. But yeah, it was really surprising to see Westman Islands, with all the preseason that they had, not being more fit than that. It was really surprising. So yeah, out of this game, there's definitely some weaknesses in the Valur's defense, and if Westman Islands are not that fit, it's gonna be a struggle for them the first 5 games, maybe, something like that. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting development to see. But yeah, the result itself is kind of obvious. I mean, the Valur is supposed to be on the top in the top half of the league, while IBVF are to be expected to be at around the relegation zone. So in the end, and it's kind of result that we expected, but it was a lot closer than a lot of us thought. Next up, we have Stjarnan versus Akranes. This one, I did predict Stjarnan victory in this, but Skagaman kind of surprised me in this, and also in the second round. We'll get back to that in just a moment, because their supporters, they came onto the field like an hour before the game started, and they were just singing and supporting their team from minute one and all the way to the end, and that's really admirable for Skagaman. And if they have that support going forward, they're gonna be easily a mid-table finish. You should definitely watch out for Akraness, because if they have this kind of following all the time, they're gonna be the surprise team of the year, because a lot of people are predicting them to be around the bottom four, somewhere like that. But yeah, they can easily get way above that if this continues. And there are hints that it will continue. More on that in just a bit. Next up, we have Breiðablik versus Keflavík, and to be fair, this is a result we all kind of expected. Breiðablik are on the top 6, actually in top 4, or most likely. Probably top 2, to be honest. And Keflavík, we knew going into the season that they're gonna struggle. They're gonna struggle a lot. They're gonna be around the bottom 4. The bottom 4 predicted are gonna be Vestmannaeyjar, Akraness, Keflavík, and Fram. That's what we were predicting, and a lot of people are predicting. So yeah, them losing against Breiðablik, nothing too much to read into it. Although 4-1 is a little bit too much what we expected. But then again, it's obvious that Keflavík were not going into this game to go full frontal assault. They will probably spare themselves a little bit until a game that they consider closer to their level of quality. Which brings us to Akureyri versus Leiknir Reykjavík, or KA, Kawa, however you want to pronounce that. This game was a lot closer than a lot of people thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be an easy Akureyri victory, like maybe 2-3-0, 2-3-1, something like that. But in reality, this goal that Akureyri scored was just because of a defensive mistake from Leiknir. So Leiknir showed up willing to fight, willing to actually try to get something out of this game, which is admirable. So yeah, we did predict earlier on that Leiknir was going to be the surprise team. So if they would have held out with a draw, that could have been a massive boost for them. But in the end, like I said earlier, a little bit of a mistake from one of the defenders caused Akureyri to get through, score the 1-0 goal, and in the end, that's all you need. 3 points, no matter how ugly it is, still 3 points. And finally, we have Fram versus KA Reykjavík. KA Reykjavík finished this game in the first half in like the first 30 minutes, give or take. Because KA Reykjavík was actually 3-0 up after, I think it was like 25 minutes, something like that. And any team that is down 3-0 in the first 30 minutes, yeah, it's really unlikely that you will get anything out of a game like that. Second half, as expected, Reykjavík backed up a little bit. Fram managed to get kind of into the game. Fram actually made it 3-1, and with a little bit more luck, Fram could actually have reduced it down to 3-2. So in that situation, who knows what could have happened? But then KA Reykjavík managed to score the 4th goal, and just before the end of the game, Fram actually got a penalty, which the goalkeeper of KA Reykjavík managed to save. So, like I said earlier, with a little bit more luck, Fram could have maybe scored to reduce it down to 3-2. So if they would have scored that, and then they might have gotten some attraction to their player style and all of that, and who knows what could have happened in the penalty after that. But yeah, in the end, if you just look at the results, this is kind of what we predicted beforehand, but it could have been a lot closer for Fram if the luck was a little bit on their side. So yeah, nothing too much to say about the first round. It's kind of went like we expected it to go. Nothing too surprising, stuff like that. So now we come to round 2, and this round was a doozy because this is fine. So let's start from the top. Vestmann Islands versus Akureyri, 3-0 beforehand. Yeah, this is what we expected. Although it's a little bit bigger than we anticipated. But then again, Vestmann Islands, as they showed in the first game, they just couldn't keep up for 90 minutes. They were done at the 60th to 70th minute. They were a little bit better this game, but it's just obvious that some of the players for Vestmann Islands, they're just not fit to be playing 90 minutes. So they're gonna struggle quite a lot in the first 2 games, especially because it's not so far until the next matches. It's just over the weekend, so they're gonna struggle quite a bit with that. Next up, so yeah, not much more to say about this game. It just, Akureyri is looking real good, like we predicted. Vestmann Islands is a little bit worse than I predicted. I just hope for their sake that they're gonna get into things soon, because if not, it's gonna be a really difficult season for them. Next up, we had Leiknir versus Stjarnan. This game, I will be honest, I thought this was gonna be a lot closer game. I thought that because this was on Leiknir's home ground, that Leiknir would actually get something out of it. Maybe a draw. Personally, I was predicting a win. Probably should have put that on Twitter. Probably now that I think about it, I should have probably put the prediction that I had on Twitter. But hey, what's done is done. But yeah, I personally thought that this was going to be a lot closer. Like, maybe I could have predicted Stjarnan victory, but then it was just going to be like 1-0, 2-1, something like that. But 3-0 for Stjarnan, that's a really strong statement from Stjarnan. So yeah, it kind of surprised me to see it this big. Leiknir, they can probably bounce back from this, but they have to stay strong together, and they have to really push on. Because maybe it's just that the teams from last year are learning how Leiknir is playing on home, and if Leiknir loses their home ground, they could easily get dragged into the relegation zone quite easily. It is only their second season in the best league, so it is also a symptom for a lot of teams that are in the league for the second season, that is basically just called the second season syndrome, where they just drop off and they just can't handle it, and they just get relegated on the second season. So yeah, they really need to watch out. At the moment, Vestmann Islands are the most likeliest to get relegated with them, if they end up relegating. But if Vestmann Islands gets their fitness together, they could easily start winning games, and then this is not going to look good for Leiknir. And now on to the first shocker of this round. Akranes versus Víkingur Reykjavík. Remember, Víkingur Reykjavík are the current champions of Best League. And Akureyri, everyone's, well, not everyone, but a lot of people were predicting them to be in the lower half, kind of close to the relegation zone. So a 3-0 victory for Akranes against the Víkingur. This was a shocker. This was shocking to see. Like, absolutely shocking to see. Everyone was predicting quite easy victory for Víkingur Reykjavík. But then again, like we touched on earlier, Akranes supporters really helped a lot in this game. They, again, started showing up like an hour before the game started. They even showed up before the camera crew got to the field. So, yeah, if they can keep their support ongoing throughout the season, they're going to be a mid-table finish. Maybe can steal top 6 if they are lucky. So, yeah, they could easily go a little bit further. But then again, they have done this also before, where they start real strong, but somewhere around the mid-season, some things start going south, and they crash down the table. So it's still early days. It could go horribly wrong for them still, but it's looking like it's going to be a season where Akranes, yes, where they just win a lot of games in the beginning, then it starts to slow down and they get, I don't know what it is that happens to them. Maybe they just get worn out or something like that, but they sometimes just drop steadily after the first like 6, 7, 8 rounds, something like that. It's looking like another case of that, which is why I'm stressing so much that if they manage to get their supporters ongoing all the time, because that's going to be crucial for Akranes if they want to be kind of mid-table finish with a possibility of going in the topper half. And then we have Keflavík versus Valur. This, again, kind of like in the first in round 1 where we talked about Akureyri versus Leiknir. It's in the end, it's a 1-0 victory for Valur, 3 points, and they're off to a good start. However, with a little bit more luck, Keflavík could have gotten away with a draw in this one, because in the early stages they were actually more likelier to score a goal. So, and this is also what I was talking about too. After the 4-1 victory in the 4-1 loss in the first round against Breiðablik, is because if Keflavík actually manages to group back when they approach the middle table teams, such as like Akranes, Leiknir, Stjarnan, those kind of teams, they can easily get results out of those. And they seem to be focusing. Well, it was a lot better to see Keflavík against the Valur than it was against Breiðablik. They were a lot more focused and stuff like that. But in the end, it's a victory for Valur. And if you would have predicted before the game, yeah, you would have probably predicted that the Valur was going to win. So nothing too surprising there. And then we have the battle of the round. KR Reykjavík versus Breiðablik. This was a strange game to watch, because KR Reykjavík in the first half, KR Reykjavík was probably the only team on the field, if you could say so, because they had chances after chances after chances. Breiðablik goalkeeper did a really good job keeping them in the game. And KR Reykjavík should have probably been like 2-0 ahead in first half, something like that. 2-0, maybe even 3-0 if they were a little bit lucky. But in the end, they went into the first half. They went into the half with a 0-0 draw. But in the second half, it was the other way around. Breiðablik were the ones to show up. Reykjavík, they just like they shut off in halftime. They had no answers, and Breiðablik actually scored a little bit early. And then they just backed up and were just playing defensively. And no matter what Reykjavík tried, they just couldn't find any answers. So yeah, it was a battle of the halves really. First half was Reykjavík a lot stronger. Second half, Breiðablik stronger. A draw would have probably been a fair result. But in the end, if you don't take your chances, then things like these can happen. So well done to Breiðablik. They won this game fair and square in the end. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much possession you have or how many shots on target and stuff like that you have. It's about pushing the ball over the line and into the net that counts. Breiðablik did that better. So yeah, Breiðablik. I mean, these two teams, they're gonna win a lot of matches going forward. So they're also gonna lose some points going forward. So yeah, I predict them to be the first and second before the season, and I'm still sticking with it because these two teams, let's just face it, they are the strongest teams in the league right now, especially after Víkingur Reykjavík lost 3-0 against Akranes. But then again, this is football. It can change in 2 rounds. So, we'll see. The next one, lastly, we have Hafnarfjörður versus Fram. This game was so much better to watch from Fram's perspective. Because they lost against Reykjavík 4-1. But in this game, the score was 2-1 all the way until like around 70th, 80th minute, something like that. That's when FA managed to make it a draw, then get 3-2, and then they managed to score the 4th one in like the closing minutes of the game. So it was a lot better performance from Fram, and FO just showed that they are a team that even though we're not predicting them any higher or something like doing really good, they're still a strong team, and they just reminded us that we shouldn't forget that in this game. But yeah, it was a lot better to see Fram in this game, and if they can improve on these 2 games, I mean, to be fair, Fram is expected to be in the bottom 4, so we can't exactly expect them to win against Reykjavík and FH Hafnarfjörður. But at least what we saw from Fram is a good look on the upcoming stuff. So yeah, that's about that for the second round. And this means that let me get that into view. We could probably just move that a little bit like that. Push it up a little. There we go. So yeah, this is the table now. Breiðablik is on top with 6 points, with 5 goals scored, one against, and close behind are Akureyri and Valur with the same points, but scored less basically than Breiðablik has. Then in 4th and 5th we have Akranes and Stjarnan, and then we have these 3 teams here: KR Reykjavík, FH Hafnarfjörður, Víkingur Reykjavík with 3 points, and the rest are yet to get a point. This can change quite easily, but these bottom 4 teams here, IBVF, Vestmann Islands, Keflavík, actually Leiknir Reykjavík is a little bit of a surprise, but Fram, yeah, these 3, Vestmann Islands, Keflavík, and Fram, we're expecting them to be fighting for relegation this season. We were expecting Akranes to be there as well, but their victory against Víkingur Reykjavík they can really push themselves above that if Vestmannaeyjar, Keflavík, and Fram don't get any points soon. And this is also, if Leiknir cannot build on what they did last season, then yeah, they're gonna be in the bottom four. Víkingur is always gonna win some more games later on, so they're gonna pull themselves away. At Hafnarfjörður, they're gonna win a lot more games than these four teams. Same with KR Reykjavík. Stjarnan and Akranes, it's a 50-50 for them basically. They can either go with a really good season and start doing something good, or they can just kind of be like shimmering mid-table, 5th to 7th, something like that. And Valur, Akureyri, and Breiðablik, we expect them to be at least in the top half. But yeah, it's still early days. It's only 2 rounds. It's only 2 rounds gone, so a lot can happen still. Which brings us to the next few matches. So the next round is going to be round 3, which we can see here. But before we go into that, like I mentioned earlier, there is one game from the 10th round. And this is because Víkingur is playing in European football, and they're playing some sort of qualification, some sort of qualification matches to be able to get into the qualifying rounds of the champions. I don't fully understand it, but bottom line is Víkingur is going into some European football, so that's why this game, which is supposed to be in the June, but yeah, that's the reason why Víkingur is going to play on well, actually it's tomorrow. I thought it was on Monday. Oh, I guess I was wrong. So yeah, they're gonna play this game tomorrow against Keflavík, and in all fairness, Víkingur should win this fairly easily. We're talking like 3-0. 3-0. Maybe Keflavík can get lucky and score 1 goal, so 3-1, something like that. We'll go with 3-1. And yeah, I'll probably post on Twitter my prediction for this for round 3 as well as this game. So yeah, you can watch over there if you so please. So round 3. This is happening on Saturday and Sunday, as well as Monday. Oh, this was the game that I thought Víkingur was playing. Okay, fair enough. So this round, the big talking point is going to be Valur, KR Reykjavík, as well as Breiðablik and FH on Sunday. These are the 2 games this round that is going to be the toughest to predict. Valur is off to a really good start. 2 victories. He's 6 points in the 3rd place at the moment. KR Reykjavík won against Fram, unlucky against Breiðablik, but also really good. But yeah, only 3 points out of 2 games. So this one is gonna be basically a decider if KR Reykjavík is going to be in the challenging for the title, because if Valur wins this match, then they're gonna be with 9 points and leaving KR Reykjavík with only 3, and it's gonna be rough to get that. I mean, sure, there's still only 3 rounds gone. Well, three rounds done, but this might, if Valur actually wins this might give Valur the boost they need to actually push on and push for the title. So this is a really important match for both teams, which means they're both gonna be really defensive. Not gonna allow for a lot of opportunities to strike against them. So it's probably just gonna be a 1-0 victory for either one. I'm gonna predict for KR Reykjavík, but I can also understand why people would predict this like 0-0 draw, 1-1 draw, 1-0, either way. It's gonna be somewhere around there. This is gonna be the toughest game to actually predict. So yeah, I'm gonna predict KR Reykjavík victory, 1-0, but I also realize it's gonna be tough. Next up, we have on Sunday at 4 p.m. local time, Vestmann Islands versus Leiknir Reykjavík. Vestmann Islands are, like we mentioned before, they are struggling against fitness at the moment. So if they haven't improved in fitness for this match, it's gonna be rough. So I am gonna predict a Leiknir Reykjavík victory here, simply because on paper they should be a little bit stronger than Vestmann Islands, and Leiknir Reykjavík actually are fit to play the 90 minutes. Which is weird because we're starting off with 2 away predictions. But hey, that's why they're called predictions. We don't know, we're just predicting things and guessing what might happen. Then we have the other big match. The other big match, which is Breiðablik versus FH Hafnarfjörður. Because this is on Breiðablik's home ground, I'm going to predict that Breiðablik is going to win this, which means that they're going to get the third victory, 9 points, because there are weaknesses in Hafnarfjörður's team. One of the players is probably out for probably the entire season because he is being investigated of sexual abuse. So he's gonna be out until that investigation is over, at least. And that is a little bit of a blow for Hafnarfjörður. But then again, they did manage to win Fram in the round 2 for 4-2 without that player. But yeah, Fram is maybe not as much of a challenge as Breiðablik is, which is why I'm going for Breiðablik victory. It's gonna be close though. It's gonna be like maybe. I mean, FH are scoring a lot of goals, so are Breiðablik when. So yeah, 3-2, 2-1. I think 2-1 is more likely. So we're gonna say Breiðablik to Hafnarfjörður 1, which means we have then Akureyri versus Keflavík. Now this should be a no-brainer. This should be Akureyri winning quite comfortably, 3-0, something like that. Keflavík, they're still waiting to fight some teams that are closer to their levels. Akureyri is just not there. Akureyri is way above them. So when everything is set in stone, Akureyri should actually do really good here and actually win this. Now that leaves us to Fram versus Akranes, and this game might be a lot closer than a lot of people think, and might be just as important as Valur versus KR, because Fram is yet to score a point. Akranes won Víkingur on their home last time, so they have a massive boost of confidence because of that. Fram's confidence is a little bit higher because they actually managed to hold off Hafnarfjörður for quite some time. But if Akranes is gonna have the same amount of support like they did in round 1 and round 2, then this is gonna be easy peasy for Akranes with their support. So yeah, it's really gonna be a question of how is the support gonna be for Akranes, and if it's just as good, which I think it's gonna be. I'm gonna predict a Akranes victory here. Because yeah, Fram Fram is lacking in confidence at the moment after two really bad defeats. And Akranes they have a momentum going on. I just don't see that Fram is the team to stop Akranes, which is gonna leave Fram in a really bad spot for the relegation zone, because this is a game that they need to win if they want to stay away from relegation. So yeah, it's looking like it's gonna be a tough season for Fram. Then finally we have Víkingur Reykjavík versus Stjarnan. On paper, Víkingur should win this. But then again, they lost against Akranes the last round. I'm guessing because this is gonna be the home ground for Víkingur that they're actually gonna pull up ahead and actually win this. But Stjarnan is not gonna be an easy sitting duck of a target. They can definitely do some damage here if their momentum is going strong. So this might also be an interesting round to watch. Although I am predicting that the Víkingur should win this. So yeah, I mean, I guess I got nothing more to say about it. I think it's going to be a victory for Víkingur Reykjavík because they are in a better place than Stjarnan. So there we go. Oops, wrong way. There we go. So this is the table as it is now. And yeah, I will. The Women's League, I was going to do a similar prediction like I did with the men's team, but because the first rounds of the Women's League were yesterday, it's kind of too late to do that now. So yeah, we're just gonna react to round one, which is gonna finish later today as of this recording. So we're gonna react to them after that match, see kind of what we are expecting from the teams and stuff like that. And that video is probably gonna come out tomorrow. And we're also gonna predict the second round of the Women's League going forward. That is, of course, if my voice doesn't break down again. So, thank you everybody so much for watching. Leave a like if you like this kind of video. And yeah, I know it's gonna be kind of a bulky editing in this video, but hey, it is what it is. Like I said, I'm still learning on a new editing software. But yeah, expect more fans here in the future once I get down to editing, using that editing software a little bit better. Until then, take care everyone, and I will see you soon.